Well, hello everyone. Today is Wednesday, April 26th, 2017. Welcome to the weekly webinar on the Goal Hacker page. My name is Dominic. I am the founder of the Self-Achievement System. Goal Hacker is a little slice of the Self-Achievement System. And the purpose, if you don't know already, of the Self-Achievement System is to support you to wake up to the truth about you so that you can create an even better life than you have right now. After 20 years of study and practical application, I designed this system to help all of us really to make better decisions. And so the idea behind it is so that we all, you, me, can organically, naturally fall in love with ourselves and create a brighter, healthier, fun, more loving, joyful future. That's the whole purpose behind the thing. I'm here right now in the deep south side of Chicago at my home. I'm about 30 minutes south of the heart of from the heart of downtown Chicago. I call it the deep south side of Chicago because we have to go through the section where all the gangs are. Man, it's crazy down here. But anyway, I'm actually in northwest Indiana. I'm about 20 minutes away from this magnificent lake that's out there. And if you've never seen pictures of it, go on the internet and look up Lake Michigan, look up the South Shore, and you're going to see this paradise that I live in or live close to. Right now the sun is shining, the temperature is dropping. It was about 65, now it's about 55 out there. That's Fahrenheit for those of you who don't know or who are using the Celsius. Anyway, the sun is shining and it's supposed to rain like hell later on. So I'm just like, okay, hold down the fort, whatever. April showers bring May flowers. In this video, I'm going to discuss the root cause for why we don't create the results that we want in our life. And this is really important because, we all want to create results. We all do create results. Some create more results, better, faster, more financially, better. But the bottom line is, why don't you create the results that you want to? And as I was thinking about today what I was going to be talking about, it reminded me of this thing in business that they call the 70-10-20 rule. And this applies for teams and for managers. And so, in terms of productivity, there are underachievers, which account for about 10% of the team. There are the middle achievers, which account for about 70% of the team, and there are the top achievers, which are about 20% of the team, right? Excuse me. The things that I've learned about underachievers, very simply, is that they're not lazy, okay? They're people that are busy, they're overwhelmed, and there's a portion of them in there that are definitely lazy, that really don't want to do it, that just want the paycheck. But most of the time, people are overwhelmed, right? And people say to themselves, for a lot of different reasons, oh, I'm overwhelmed because I'm so busy, I'm tired. That's for the very small percent. Gag me, right? That's not really the reason why people are overwhelmed, and you know that. And I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more in a couple of minutes. Middle achievers, they usually find a way to create a good balance so that they are achieving not totally great results all the time, but they're doing the best that they can, and they create really good results so that 70% of the people, they do what's needed to handle their life, their family, so they are the middle achievers. Top achievers, no doubt they make it a point to create a great balance and create results. And it may be that their home life is suffering. I don't really know, and that's not the point of this video. But the point is that it's 10%, 70%, 20%, and it's not really about high achievers, middle achievers, or low achievers. And it's not about success. Everybody creates success with their own definition. Some people, they want to have a little house with a little garden and a couple of cats, and to them that is total 100%. They're happy with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's success. Other people, they want to have a sort of medium life, and they want to live in a medium type neighborhood and drive a medium kind of a car, and that's success for them. That's very happy. They have 2 or 3 or 4 kids, whatever it may be. And there's other people that want to have, the big skyscraper in the sky and their private jet, and they want to have a summer home in 5 different cities around the world, and that's success for them. So it's not really about that either. It's not really about what people want, okay? It boils down to what's important, and more importantly, what's important to you, not to them. You can talk about, all these people that have this and they've got money but they're not happy and blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't really matter, because the most important person in your life is you, right? The most important person in my life is me. So it's about, am I creating the conditions in my life, regardless of my level of success, in order to feel happy and satisfied with what I have and what I want to create. So after being a student for many years and facilitating personal development, personal growth seminars all over the country, I learned a few things. And the important thing to understand is that there's a big difference between an intellectual understanding and an experiential understanding. So we can understand things up here, but experientially it's a different story. It's what you have going on up here that creates the reality, which creates the actualized result out there in the world. So to make this really simple without making things complicated, for example, here's a couple of intellectual things that we all know, right? So short-term actions greatly affect long-term results. We know that the things that we do on a moment-to-moment basis in our life, so if we drink a certain amount of colas or whatever you want to call them, sweet drinks, that's going to have an effect down the road. So we know that. That's intellectual information. One small choice in the present becomes a big result in the future. So for example, maybe you have a bad habit of smoking or something. It's a small result. You're having one cigarette right now in this moment, or in this little 5 minutes, right? But down the road, after you do that 3 or 4 or 500 or 1,000 times, that is going to create a result. And it could be the same thing with a healthy habit, or maybe with say like with drinking water. So over a period of 3 months, you drink 3,000 gallons of water versus 3,000 gallons of cola, and that's going to create a result. We all know all that. So that's intellectual information. The point is this: you can't get to where you want to go if you don't do what you need to do. So the question is, do you know what you need to do? And people, a lot of times, people that I've met over the years, I've been a life coach. I've been doing lots of training and all this stuff, and I've worked on myself for a long time. That doesn't make me a hero. The thing is, if you don't do the things that you know that you need to do, you're not going to create the result down the road. Again, intellectual information. Some of the things that block us, that keep us from that. I've talked to people, you've talked to people all the time, you see it all over social media. People have blocks. It could be anger, jealousy, avoiding problems, avoiding change, greed, not taking action. Their ego gets in the way. They're desperate. They come from this place of lack. I don't have enough of all this stuff. They focus on the wrong things. Indulgence, on and on and on. Right? That's all intellectual information that we use to keep us from creating the results that we really ideally want in our life. So those aren't the issue either. The issue, what it boils down to, the root cause. Now listen to me. Look at me, okay? The truth is that you lie to yourself. Now, you lie to yourself when it's convenient, and you lie to yourself all the time. Now, how do you do that? I know you're like, he's confronting me on social media. Yes, I am. I'm confronting you because the truth is that you lie to yourself all the time. And what that means, very simply, is that you don't honor your word to yourself. You don't keep your word. And what I mean by that is that you know that the things that are going to give you the biggest, best long-term results is a repetitive type of thing. Doing something over and over and over, so later on down the road you're going to get a result. So if you want to create health in your life, you're going to do certain things over and over and over so that later on down the road you're going to be healthier. On the other side, it's all the bad things or unhealthy or whatever they may be habits that you have that's also going to create a result. Which leads me to this thing about success. The truth of the matter is that you always succeed. It's impossible to fail. So if you do this and that and this over and over and over, you're very successful at that. And if you do this, this, and that over and over and over, you're going to be very successful. So it's not about that, okay? Repetitive tasks is the key, and it's following through. So you come up with these reasons or whatever you call them to say, well, I can't do it today because, or I can't do it now because, right? So it's your willingness or your ability to follow through with your word that will create the biggest results in your life. Your willingness to follow through. And the biggest thing that I've seen, and certainly is true for me, is that I say, I come up with a plan or an idea or thought, whatever, and then I think, I'm going to start doing this, and then I don't follow through. I do it for a day, I do it for a week, or I do it for 2 or 3 weeks, or a month even, and then something happens, and then I fall off the wagon, whatever you want to call that. I stop doing it, and it doesn't work. So it's our ability to follow through with our words. So we tell ourselves certain things, and then we come up with these reasons, which is like lying, right? So unless you have made this a daily practice, you have become weak. So that's what happens, is that when you don't follow through with your word, and you do that in 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 100 different areas of your life, it makes you weaker. And then people come up with these reasons, well, I just don't have the self-discipline to do it. Well, that's not really true, because if you have the self-discipline not to do it, that's self-discipline, right? So that doesn't really hold water either. People say this, oh, I need a plan to follow. Oh yes, once I have a plan, I'm going to do it. So, do they make a plan? No. Sometimes. Sometimes they even put it on their calendar. But a lot of people, right? They come up with this thing, oh yes, I'm going to make a plan, and then they don't make a plan. Why don't they make a plan? Because they know that if they make a plan, then they're going to have to follow it. But the truth is that they know themselves. And if they're weak because they haven't really done it, then they're like, well, I'll make the plan later. So everything gets delayed. The bottom line of that is that you can't follow a plan that doesn't exist. It's impossible. So this is why people don't make a plan. For years, I did this thing called the Achievement Seminar. And then in the advertising and the marketing, I would put, create a plan for your future. And people wouldn't come. Because they know, they see that, they're like, no, I'm not going to do that, because if I make a plan, then I'm going to have to commit to it, and I'm so weak, I can't commit. So they don't do it, right? I'd rather go eat cake. I'd rather go sit someplace and, do all the bad things, because YOLO, you only live once. But the bottom line is that they're not happy, right? So it really gets down to a very, very simple thing. You can't follow a plan that doesn't exist, and you won't do a plan if you don't make one. So you have to make a plan. So deep down, you don't make a plan because you're weak and you know yourself and you justify with a bunch of bullshit reasons, right? So even if you have a plan doesn't mean that you're going to follow it. Honoring your word is the same thing. Honoring your word is you learning this process that I learned. Okay, this is where we take the intellectual and we put it into practical, and the practical application is about making and keeping agreements. An agreement, like in the business world, right, is that, you make an agreement, you shake on it, or it's put in writing. Back in the old days, in the Knights of the Round Table, they had their honor. That's my word of honor. See, most people don't honor themselves. They don't make themselves so important that they'll do anything to honor their word. And it's one thing to honor your word with someone else, which is really important. But it's another thing to honor your word with yourself, because it's easier to let yourself off the hook, because in your private world, nobody's paying attention, nobody's watching. Everybody's all in their own private world. So it's so easy to let yourself off the hook. So the thing that made the big difference for me was when I learned that if I made myself important, if I made my word important to myself, then I could really do something. I could really accomplish something. It was me keeping my word, not just going to the gym every day. It was with everything. So I began to start making these agreements and then working at keeping them. That's two different things. So making an agreement and keeping the agreement, right? Two separate things. So you make the agreement to get things in motion, but keeping the agreement is like managing it in every moment. You manage that decision. And so what I tell people all the time is to start small. For those of you out there that are going to watch this, you're going to remember in the achievement seminar, I always used to say, start really small. Don't start with like, I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to quit, this big habit, or I'm going to lose 20 pounds in a week. No, start really small. Like, for example, flossing your teeth. And you may already do that, which is fine. But if you're not doing that, you could start with, I'm going to floss my teeth every single day before I go to sleep, no matter what. And you put up sticky notes, you set a timer on your phone, you set a clock so that all the bells are gonna go off, so at that certain time you floss your teeth. Or maybe it's you need to drink more water, so you set an alarm or something, some kind of a reminder to drink water, so much water each day. I'm not a health expert, but I know that it's important to drink, half your body weight in ounces, right? So I weigh 200 pounds. I need to be drinking 100 ounces a day to keep this thing that's mostly water functioning, right, at a good, healthy level. So start really small. It might be that you exercise or do some stretching at night for 5 minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes. And you do that every single day, and you have to decide for how long you're going to do it for. So your period of time. So not only what, but for how long. And you do that. Let's say you make an agreement that you're going to stretch every night before you go to bed for 5 minutes for 1 week. Okay? That's the practical application. So you do that. Now, you may come up with, on the third or the fourth night, oh, I'm so tired, I don't want to do that. But you remember, wait a minute, I said to myself that I was going to honor my word, and that's where you manage the decision. So it's in those little moments, okay? So remember, it's not about success, it's not about failure, it's impossible to fail. So set yourself up, and remember that honoring your word is in fact the root cause, the key, right, for you to be successful in the way that you need to be successful, okay? So anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for investing your time with me here. Please like and share and make a comment if you got value. Pay it forward to other people. This may have been, maybe you didn't get anything out of it. Maybe you did. Maybe you know somebody out there. Share it. Pay it forward. Okay? Thank you very much. My name is Dominic. My purpose in life is to live to make the world a better place for all of us. See you next time.